Oh wow, that was fast. Morning, everybody. How you all doing? This week we're gonna do a little something different. As you all know, we have a political tilt, so we'll talk briefly about that. But we also talk about all things as they impact the Black community. And one of the things that we've been churning around is the idea of colorism. Invited some folks to join us today to talk about that and colorism in our community, how it impacts and how it affects those of us that partake in everything inside of the Black community. I think it's going to be a very robust and good discussion, males, females. Brother Barry wanted us to run the whole show with that. I think that's going to be a little too much. So what we'll do 9 times out of 10 is we'll turn this into a part two and maybe even a part three if necessary. But starting off this morning, I am in Maryland. I'm in Baltimore specifically. Had to come up to spend time with the grandkids before I got out of the country, and I needed some food. Yo, I went to Walmart yesterday. They had tasty cakes in the checkout line. They had the pies, the lemon pies, the baked lemon pies, not that turnover crap, not that bull crap. I'm talking about the actual baked lemon pies. I damn near lost my mind. Now, let me tell you something. I'm trying not to be fat, but every now and again, the fat boy got to come out. The fat boy came out yesterday. I was like, yo, we get two of them right here, right now. And I brought them home, put them in the refrigerator. So they're going to be nice, just so nice, chilled. Oh, I can't wait. I promise you, I can't wait. I know you don't understand. It's okay. When you're away from home, it's not the big things. You expect the big things to be different. It's those little things. It's the fact that you can't get your favorite whatever it is, just as regularly or normally as you were if if you were home. So that's one of the things that I've definitely been chasing. You can get crimpets basically anywhere, but a coffee cake you cannot get. The the pound cakes you can't get those either. So definitely, my sister and I had lunch yesterday. We went and got some. We didn't get crabs. I had crab cakes and we had shrimp. She gonna turn into a freaking shrimp. That girl was just killing them. And I went and got some food from Rolling Rib 2. Shouts out to Rolling Rib 2. If you've never been to Rolling Rib 2 and you're in the Maryland, DC area, please come and partake in Rolling Rib 2. The food is off the chain 100%. They're only open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So you definitely need to get there. And you need to get there early because they will sell out of food quickly. Uh, and that was it. That was it yesterday. Today again, it's about the grandkids, spending some time with them if possible. If not, then I'll spend some time with them tomorrow because I'm not leaving until late Monday. So I'll get to spend some time with my cousins while I'm here as well. It's going to be a good trip, man. It's going to be a really good trip. Definitely pumped about it and looking forward to it. Sister Rashi's on. Bring her in. Uh, Outside of that, though, it's been a good week. Yo, I got dark all of a sudden when you came on, Rashi. What I do? Did I get darker because you
Hey, that's
came on?
that. That's that
What's going
spirit I bring. I bring that. No, don't start.
on?
I
See,
did
I'm
notice that
lighter
though. Yeah, I
like
did. I
this.
did. I did notice that.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on. I
Okay,
haven't
that's
moved.
better. There it goes. There it goes. That's better.
Okay, that's better. That's what's up. Well, uh, I'm sorry. I'm pumped about my vacation coming up. Like it is amazing to yet be on the doorstep of doing some international travel again. I'm hoping that when I return, I'm allowed to return because we all know how things are going right now in this country. But it's a wreck out there. It is a wreck out there. I saw folks protesting yesterday on two overpass bridges as I was going 95 north. People are out, man. When was up? Last time I saw it, I was here. I was in Virginia, and I saw something of the same, but this time was in Maryland. People are out. They're up in arms, and the fear that I have is seriously things are going to get worse quickly, and I mean quickly before they start to even before we even start to get a glimpse of things getting better, and that's the sad part, to be honest with you. But what we gonna do? We have an election process The election happened. Elections have consequences. God willing, the creek don't rise. We're able to have another one. Well, actually, two, the midterms and the next presidential election, and we can right the ship. But whomever gets it after this is going to have a huge hill to climb and a deep hole to get out of. So we just got to do our part and keep it pushing, keep it moving, and prepare. Again, Rodney has stressed the fact that we all need to make sure that we have cash on hand, water, a strong food source, uh, munitions, guns, because you just don't know what it's going to look like. I'm curious to see. I'm a pivot for a half a second to Washington D.C. So there was an agreement between the administration and the district to allow the police chief to stay in charge of the police. I'm very leery about that, knowing how the Proud Boys and others are in the pocket of the administration. Do we see them being deployed to cause chaos, to see to for the administration to say, see, we left you in charge, you can't control your own city, we're going to institute martial law? I don't put it past them. I do not put it past them. Anything is possible with these jokers, and I would not at all think that it is not within their scope of thinking to do such, especially if when things start to turn not the administration's way and they need to change the narrative. As with this all of a sudden emergency meeting with Vladimir Putin. Where the heck did this come from? So now all of a sudden, Friday, yesterday just passed, there's an emergency meeting with Vladimir Putin about the ceasefire in Ukraine. Dog, you were supposed to end this war within your first 24 hours, right? That's what you said. We're 7 months in, almost 8 months in, still not over. Now you come out of the meeting saying, well, you don't want a ceasefire anymore. That's not your path. You're actually looking more to a total peace settlement. What does that look like? How are you going to talk about a peace settlement in a country that you don't actually run? They're not at the table. How does that work? So now people already don't like the United States of America around the globe, y'all. Please tell me that you all understand that. Now we're being seen as the great dictator to other countries around the world. How is that going to look? How does that bode well for American citizens living abroad? How does that bode well for American citizens traveling abroad? Now, folk that look like you and I tend to get a little bit of a pass because most folk understand that we ain't a part of that system. But it's only but so long that's going to run too, and then we too will become targets of others. uh, Donnie's in the green room right now. I'm going to bring him up. He says, when someone tells you everything you want to hear, you think they're the smartest and the most capable person on earth. Yeah, you're right, bro. And he is definitely one who operates from compliments. The more you compliment him, the more you make him feel good, the more receptive he is to you and your message and or your plight. As the white Afrikaners learned in their struggle in South Africa. I don't understand how the hell they are struggling in South Africa, but say somebody saw it, I guess, somewhere. Whatever. But I bounced around a little bit. Going back to Friday. So coming out of the meeting, going into the meeting, the push was for a ceasefire. The Europeans wanted it, the European Union. The Ukrainians wanted it. It made the most sense for everybody. Coming out of this meeting, he comes out, he being the president, Donald Trump, comes out talking about he now wants a peace settlement. Now, going into this meeting, Putin was already demanding land in Ukraine. How that work? How that work? You're basically at a stalemate. Look, this war has gone on for 3 years. Now, if you remember, 3 years ago, Rodney and I got on here and we were like, this is going to be over in 3 weeks. If anything, we thought the Russians would just overtake Ukraine. Like they had no chance in our minds, right? We've seen a lot of holes in the Russian military. A lot. We thought them boys were trained up and ready to go. We found out they were not. We thought their equipment was almost parallel to ours. We found out it is not. And with the support of the European allies, with the support of the American government, they have been able to fend off and even make gains. Where, again, a lot of us initially thought they would not. We thought that Ukraine would be flattened and taken in 3 weeks. With that being the case, how do you start from a position of a loss? How do you start from a giving position with a ally that has held their own and actually exceeded all expectations? That should be a non-starter off the rip. It should be a no. No, we're not giving. We're not going to allow you to dictate to them that they have to give you land. No, we're not doing that. And think about this. What land does he want, and why does he want it? Why does he want it? There has to be a strategic place for it. There has to be a strategic need for it. There has to be resources there that the Russian state needs. That's why they want it. Deny that. That should not even be a topic of conversation. So then, do the Ukrainians get to claim and hold on to the lands that they have captured and held in Russia? Is that how this works? Explain to me. But you have no explanation because you had a 3 hour meeting. A 3 hour meeting. Hell, by the time they took all the pictures to walk in, all they did was sit down, get up, and leave out, relatively speaking. And take more pictures on that. No framework of a plan was announced. No details of a plan was announced. But it was a very good meeting. How? How? How was it a very good meeting? You know, I'm driving yesterday and it hit me because I'm stuck in traffic on 395 and I'm driving and I'm thinking about all these little things. One of my friends says often, he said, "Yo, you be worried about you complain about first world problems, right?" And I'm driving and I'm looking to my right because there was an accident, but traffic was still moving, mind you. And I saw something else, and I saw something else, and I'm thinking to myself, what did the Germans see before Hitler took total control of Germany? How was life moving before that happened? Were they even cognizant of, of how soon the end was near, how soon their freedoms or perception of freedom was going to change? Or were they just going about the everyday like the everyday? Were they concerned? Were they nervous? Were they working toward a different outcome? May not have happened, but were they at least working toward a different outcome? Was anyone standing up and saying, "Yo, we need to put pause to this guy. Yo, we need to slow this down. This is not going in a direction that's good for the country." We need to understand, we need to have everybody understand that, okay, if we support this cat, it might be good for us in the moment, but the entire world will turn against us and it will be very bad for us quickly. I don't know if we're in that space. I don't know if we're in that place. But I don't know if people are willing to at least have the thought of so. Never mind the conversation, just have the thoughts of so. Because again, we are 7 months in. I'm sorry, that's not even true. Because nope, it's not even the 20th. So we're not even 7 months in. And look how much chaos and upheaval has occurred to our nation in 6 months. Look at that. And this dude still has 3.5 years to go in his term. He still has 3.5 years to go in his term. That's a long time. If all of this can happen in 6 months, what can happen in a year? What can happen in 2 years? We running back and forth to the mall. We running back and forth to Sam's or the Costco or BJ's or whatever. Is that going to be able to continue? Are we going to get back to? Are we gonna go back to stamps? Not food stamps, but ration cards. Where you get it stamped. This is how much gasoline you can have. This is how much food you can have. This is how much sneaker. This is how many pair of sneakers you can buy. Imagine that. Imagine if there's a shoe limit. Imagine if there's a clothing limit. Imagine if you can only buy one cell phone. That's it. That's it. The government says you can only buy this type of cell phone, nothing else. Obviously, because they have some software on it, some spyware, whatever on it. That's it. Imagine that. And yo, we are not that far from it. We are not that far from it. The Democrats have ran out of Texas to not give them the ability to have a quorum so that the redistricting can go forward. The Democrats cannot run out of DC and refuse that chamber, that house, a quorum so that things will not happen. They can't do it. And in this system, when all three phases of government are aligned in a very bad way, things can get bad quickly. They can get horrible quickly. Who is there to stop them? And this is when you talk about Chairman Powell. This is when you talk about the man who sits at the Fed and says, nope. So think about this. Jerome Powell, think about this. Everything that Trump is doing, the Republicans are doing, are predicated on the economy maintaining. Powell comes through next time and says there will not be a rate cut. We as a nation will be in a world of hurt. And if he says there will not be a rate cut, there's not going to be a rate cut. I'm sorry. He is doing the right thing for the economy. He is doing the right thing for the nation. It's going to hurt a lot of people, but he is actually doing the right thing. The policies that the Republicans are pushing forward are going to hurt the nation in the short and the long. What they're banking on is they think that they're going to put him in such a pickle that he's going to have to cave to them, which is going to make them look good. It's the optics. Make them look good in the short term. If he says no, then these taxes that they've added through the big beautiful bill, because a lot of these tenants are taxes, are going to hit. And they're going to hurt a lot of people. They're going to hurt a lot of people. Your 401k is going to take a duca hit. Stocks are going to sell off. It's going to be not a lovely day on the Dow. You'll see the pictures in the Wall Street Journal, in the Times, in whatever newspaper you have of people looking like this. They're gonna be like that. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be insane. But he would be doing the business of the country, the right thing by the country. So even though I know that it's going to hurt me too, I say, don't cut the rates. Don't cut the rates. Maybe that's the thing that will finally shake some of these cats off the Trump train and get them to recognize and realize that this is a nation that needs governance, not authoritarianism. Maybe that's the thing that shakes the train, shakes some of these cats off the chain or off the train and say, okay, I get what you want to do. This is not 1930. This is not 1830. The world is more connected than it ever was before. We have to understand that in all the decisions and policies that we put forward. Let's step away from this and let's look at this thing holistically and make it make sense for everybody. Now, some people still gonna get screwed because they still gonna want a bigger slice of the pie. That's just how it is. But in the short and God willing the long, it will work out better for everybody. That's my thought. I don't see it going any other way. And I said this about a month or so ago. He may be the only person that can speak truth to power and it stick. And let me tell you something. If he comes back with a no vote on cutting the rates, they're going to talk about removing that dude immediately. Immediately. Trump will issue a statement that he is fired, which he cannot do legally, but he will issue that statement and we'll go through the whole court battle, blah, 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 blah. But that's what's going to happen. Mark my words. If that happens, that is going to happen. Mark my words. I don't see another way through this. Because again, this big, beautiful bill is going to do nothing but hurt us as Americans as a whole. Saw a guy in the airport. He had a hat on, said, "Make America healthy again." And we got into a discussion about that. And I said, it's going to be very difficult for that to actually happen with what's before Congress right now. Let's understand something. A good portion of middle America is going to be ravaged by these cuts to healthcare. In some of these places, that small hospital, that clinic, whatever, is the biggest employer in that area. If they have to shutter because of the Medicaid changes, the Medicare changes, other other points of revenue that are getting slashed, cut, reduced, whatever, people are going to lose jobs. More so than that, people are going to lose their lives because these often are the only medical centers in that area. How is that going to play out? How is that going to play out in the midterms? How is that going to play out in the next presidential election if we are allowed to have a next presidential election? Remember, this cat is already talking about a third term. Others have already floated the concept of him having the third term. That's a problem. That's a problem. What are we going to do? Are we going to sit idly by and allow this to happen? Are we going to stand up and let our voices be heard, not only through the ballot box with a check, as much as you can whenever you can, and or with your mouthpiece, spreading the good word, spreading the good word to your friends, your family, that they need to stand up, step up, and get involved. Get them to the ballot boxes. Get them involved. Get them thinking outside of the what's right in front of them. And before we get too far along and get into the topic for the rest of the show, I want to send my condolences to the family of Danielle Spencer. We know her as Dee from What's Happening and What's Happening Now. Sister passed away on the 11th of August. She was 60 years old. Uh, she had a troubled life, not necessarily in run-ins with the law or anything like that. If you remember, during I believe the second season of What's Happening, she was in a car accident, and it required her to do a long recovery for quite some time. She was laying on the couch often because allegedly she was sick on the show and stuff, and but she still got television time once she was able to get out of the hospital. And later on in life, it led to spinal stenosis that was diagnosed later on in life. That was because of her car accident in 1977. She went on to have a very good life, though. You know, she was a Delta. She graduated from USC, Berkeley, I believe, and then she graduated from Tuskegee, sorry, with her doctorate in veterinary in vet. I don't know what the hell you call it. What do you call it, Rashi? When what's your doctorate in veterinary sciences? Veterinary
Veterinary
science.
science.
There you
Yes.
go. Veterinary science. There you go. And yeah, so she lived a good life, man. She was married twice. She married her first marriage was to her manager, and that lasted for a good minute. Then a year later, she married her second and last husband. Obviously, she passed. He's still alive. So, 2014, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. 2018, she had emergency surgery for bleeding in the brain. And this year, the reason for her death was she died of stomach cancer. So Dr. D, somewhere up there, hopefully she let off with the line, "Ooh, I'ma tell mama," and she saw her television mom and gave her a hug, and rerun is already up there waiting on her, and what's the other sister's name? What's the sister's name that ran the diner?
Shirley Hill.
What's her name, Roger? Huh?
Shirley Hill.
There you go, Shirley. Yeah, yeah. So that's where it is, and that's what's up. So look, y'all, got a hot topic, got a huge one there. Got a lot of folks on. Get Donnie on first, even though he wearing that hat and being disrespectful this morning. I'm gonna get him on first. Yeah, you need to take that crap off, brother. You know I love you because if I didn't love you, I would have been like, yeah, he gotta go. He gotta go. Oh no, don't bring out that trash. Do not bring out that trash. Oh, Mike, really, Mike gonna get up and get his trash too. Good Lord, have mercy. I'm going to him. He popped up.
One for each thumb, brother. One for each thumb. Just remember that. One for each thumb. That's how we roll,
Sister
right?
Ramona, how you doing? How you doing? What's going on? Now,
Man, you didn't
you're
tell
on
me
mute.
Ramona was a supermodel, man.
Oh Lord, have mercy!
Michael
Not
Henry.
two of you. Not two of you.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hey, Lee. Hey, Lee. So,
Yes, sir.
Michael. So, what you saying? Is that what you saying? You gonna wear it the several times? Is that what you saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
My
sir.
nigga.
How's everybody doing? How get all the light skinned folks on first? How y'all get? You trying to say all the dark skinned folks on CP time? Is that what y'all trying to say? This is
We're
bullshit.
not light skinned, man. We're beige, brother. We're beige. Okay, just
Yes,
keep that in
sir.
mind. All right.
How you all doing? Good morning to you.
Great.
Good
Look,
Great.
as I always
morning.
say,
Good morning.
if I was doing any better, I'd be leave on. That's how
Thank
it
you. Thank you
rolls,
for that.
man.
Thank you
So,
for that.
and look, I
Um,
haven't heard Rashi's voice in years. I'm glad to see she's still with us.
I
Good to see you,
am. I
doll.
am. I always pay respect to people when they speak in their truth and wisdom. So, and I've been asked to keep it tight anyway. So I'm here and keeping it tight.
all right,
There you
so
go.
look, um, so this came up honestly, Ramona. You're gonna love this. So we're standing in line at the Capitol Jazz Festival 2, 3 years ago, Mike,
Yep.
and this is when I met Mike Henry. So we're just chopping it up. Just Donnie, you know how I do. We just chopping it up,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike goes, brother, I've had a good life, and he starts running down different events and phases of his life. And I'm standing and I'm listening to this brother, and I'm like, okay, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So then I get to churning. I'm like, this will make a great show. Because Mike, you shared with you got very personal. You were like, bro, like I've had some real challenges out here, like different phases in my life. When light skin was in, like I was the man. And then it went to it went to the opposite. And then as I got older, I started going like, well, I don't want you just to like me because you see a fair colored skin. I want you to like me because I'm a good person,
Yeah.
first and foremost. And I recognize that I needed to be a better man in general. So I started getting and becoming more of that. And again, we just chopping, we just chopping. So long story short, as we tend to do, I don't let him get away because we met in line at the Capitol Jazz Fest. We kept in touch. And as we kept in touch through the years, this year in particularly, we come back and I go, um, in my mind, I'm like, it's time to put this together. It's time to put this together. So we talking again this year. I come over, spend some time with you this year, because him and his crew sits in a totally different spot. So I come over, spend some time with him this year, and I'm again gathering information. I'm just listening, gathering information. I'm just listening. And when I left this year, I was like, "Yep, it's time to do it. It's time to do it." So as we're going through all of this crap that we've been going through with the orange one for the past couple of months, I was like, it's time to break it up. It's time to break it up. We got to do something different. Mike, let me get Mike. It is time to have that discussion because it's something real that I think too many of us deal with, especially in our community. There is a colorism thing amongst us. There is a that is just another barrier, unfortunately, for a lot of us to get together and get to know one another on a more deep level than just the surface crap that we tend to go through as we interact with one another. So I wanted to take it and bring it up and bring it out. So when I shot it out, he said yes. Had to bring Donnie. That's like my Obi-Wan Kenobi. Had to bring him. And Ramona, since you're there with us as well, I don't have you ever met Mike Verona? You're on mute. You're on mute. When you come in, you're on mute. Yeah.
My apologies. I don't know that I've met Mike, but hello.
Hi.
I'm
What is it, Ramona?
Yeah.
Ramona. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I,
So he's in the well. You don't ever come in line. You always sleeping in the damn truck. That's why you don't see nobody. You know. So we get to the Capitol Jazz Fest 0 dark 30 in the morning, and
Yep.
it's really early in the morning every day on year. But the gates don't open till 10 o'clock. So Ramona usually graces us with her presence around 9:45 and be like, "Can I just take this little itty bitty cooler? Because I'm doing my thing." So she'll come with the little itty bitty cooler and bring one of the coolers or one of the wagons in. But by that time, we already up front trying to get in and get our spots and stuff. But be it neither here nor there, doesn't matter. Family, let's talk. Let's get into this thing for real. For real. What has ladies first, Ramona? What has been your experience as a lighter skinned woman? Have you been called a red bone? Do you consider yourself a red bone, Ramona?
I do not consider myself a red bone, but I am called that often.
What is a red bone? Let's break it down for the people that don't know. What is a red bone?
I would like somebody to define it for me because to me, walking down the street, hey red or red, that becomes who you are and it becomes your identity and it is assigned to you. It's not something that I ever look for or even describing myself. I don't use
Right.
that term.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes from a genetic uh, combination. We're talking about a set of recessive genes that bring in the ginger or the because the concept of being ginger is it happens very in every genetic ethnicity. All of them have the propensity to create a Malcolm X, a no matter all those people with red hair, or if you did a genetic
Hmm.
workup on them, you would see a particular set of mutations set up within a certain environment, right? So that red is actually what it's the freckles, right? We're talking about 4 or 5 different attributes. One, red hair, like a gingery, sandy brown red hair, right? We're talking about freckles. We're talking about the ability to see your vasculature on top of in your skin. A lot of people don't connect that, but being able to look down at your skin and see your veins, that's almost as good as the brown paper bag test is. The other one is the hazel eye. Usually the idea of red comes with light brown to the green eye,
Hmm.
and so it's a physiological characteristic set that black people have bust down to red, and so but the idea genetically is that not quite albinism. I would not say it's not being an albino, but it is. Let's say being an albino is 1,000 genetic mutations, right? We can say being a red is 600, four
Okay.
hundred, right? And so you're going to get those characteristics based on this idea of a difference in melanation. And it all stems from admixing genetics. You really do not get it prevalently when everybody is discuss the color you are, Lee. But you gon' get that ginger way more often if you're dealing with a particular population of people.
Gotcha.
And I'm not
So,
talking about, I didn't say nothing inferior. All I
right.
said was what, okay, I'll
No,
say,
no,
okay,
it's okay. Land your thought so I can go to the other guest. Go ahead,
never
land
mind.
your thought.
I'll keep it tight. Bye bye.
Okay. So, Mike, have you been considered a red bone?
Yes. And who was the sister that just spoke?
Rachi.
She expressed something that I did quite a few years ago. So I did the African ancestry DNA, and so if
Okay.
you look at my eyes, they're hazel. If I had hair, it would be brown or red.
Okay.
On my arm it's blonde. So when I did that genetically, I had 1% Irish, and if you know Irish, their
That's exactly.
their culture is indicative of red hair and green or hazel eyes. So somewhere down my genetics, that I got 1% of that DNA in my bones. So that's where mine come from. But yeah, I've been called red bone. I've been called high yellow, but high yellow, I'm not high yellow. High
I like
yellow is
that's
Yellow
what
like,
I
fella.
said. The terms can be so derogatory, brother, but
yeah,
I'm glad you
exactly.
mentioned the Irish because we're talking economics now,
Come on.
not just genetics. We're talking about
Yes.
who were in those slums together, who were working in those, grease factories together,
Yep.
and whose sister got with whose brother after they came out. We talking sinners now. We talking the movie Sinners, and
Yep.
we trying to get the Irish, trying to get in and say, look, we as they were in there with us, is what I'm trying to say. So it is not uncommon to see Irish genetics that are predisposed to the Irish
Yes.
admixing into African American DNA. It's not uncommon at all. And I'm actually glad. And some people will say they didn't admix nothing. Irish people are black people. They
Yep.
would say that there are geneticists that would say that the fact that they do not have completely straight hair, that they do have freckles, that they do have uh, hyper more pigmentation genetics within their mixture than others do, that they are in fact closer to black people than
Absolutely.
any other European. So it's not even like you went your back whoever that was back in the back didn't even go that far out of they out of their lineage. They just dip back in somewhere. So but we all got some. There is very few people, y'all, with 100% anything, you know. So this is where we talking. What does that come to look like? What
Yeah.
is it, and what do we put in it emotionally? What that looks like? What have we embedded into the look? And I'm gonna tell you, Sister Ramona, I do have a little bit of light lady bitterness in my spirit because his name was Raphael Soriano, and he was going to be my revolutionary boyfriend. But there was this girl who looked very much like you, dear, but her hair was real curly, like for Sade. I do back in the, you know, her hair looked like Sade, and he wouldn't even look. I don't care how far I put my revolutionary fist in the air, he could the prettiness of the lady, it trumped the goddamn movement. And I ain't been right since in my heart about what the power of that, you know, the lure of that attractiveness within our population does. Especially when you're trying to get your boyfriend to share the mission. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
I've been on the receiving end of that sentiment before.
how so?
So, well, listen, I'm just going to say it how I've experienced it, and it is no disrespect to anyone. Um, I think that in dating circles, even in the workplace, there are biases that others have. Like somehow my complexion makes me attractive over similarly situated and to me aesthetically more beautiful brown skinned women than myself. In the workplace, I think I am somehow safer or perceived safer than similarly situated, equally educated, um, superior work performance and experience than women who might have a darker hue than me. So I've experienced this before. I've been on, um, I have benefited, right? I have lost friendships, and I see it less as I get older, but I do know that it exists in those
Mm.
circles.
Now, when you say, and Donnie, I'm not keeping you on hold for forever. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, I got you. I know you know I'm cooking. When you say you've lost friendships, were they female friendships or female male friendships? Both.
More female friendships. Lee, as you know, I'm a I think I'm a genuinely nice person. I care
That's
for
because you're a
people. I
Virgo.
try to do
Hey!
my absolute right, and I'm super friendly, right? So I don't meet many strangers. But I have been in situations where people immediately think, right, that I have an attitude. I am stuck up or say that right?
Look at
And
Mike.
that's not,
Mike.
yes, and that is not who I am at all. But people come into the room sometimes with that opinion of me. I am a straight shooter, very blunt. I'm going to express what's on my mind, but it is not ever um in a way that is trying to be adversarial or any other negative attribute. But she thinks she's whatever. I've been on the receiving end with friendships and people who I genuinely liked and respected have somehow perceived me as this thing. And again, um, I don't necessarily perceive that as much as I get older, mainly because I can identify characteristics of people easier, right? Wisdom brings you to a place where you can realize that some people are not your people early. But I did like find that as a teenager, young adult, and people wanted to just like kind of fight me because they perceived me as less able to defend myself. And so I have experienced a number of situations like that.
Because you look like a house nigga. See, we feel Negroes. We know how to get out there and scrap. See that there. See when you one of them house Negroes, you used to that soft life. I don't want to skip over that. I do want to another
No,
side of you.
Lee, you put the double underline right there. Seriously. You put it right there. That's the double underline, because it's
Yes.
this whole sensitivity of Dr. Francis Welsing saying that we've been conditioned to believe that white is superior and black is
Yep.
inferior.
Absolutely.
And that's been the ethos in our culture so long. My first wife is the same complexion as Sonia. You know, my second wife is a little lighter than Ramona. To me, as I get nearer to 75, I don't have time for those distinctions to hold me or anyone else back. You know, we dealt on this, and again, this is a topic that can come on endlessly on many shows like this, all over the country. Because again, the colorism is, as Rashi so succinctly put it, it's there, and it's also becoming a burden. It's becoming a burden because at the end of the day, we're all going to be black no matter what we think. So in other words, we need to find out we need to find a way, in so many ways, to say, I am not your opinion of my color. I'm not your opinion of my hair. India Ari sang it, I'm not my hair. You know, so in other words, when you really think about, the bottom line is that no matter what our complexion is, we're all going to be shunted off into some subcategory.
Yep.
And the subcategory must now, you know, the one thing I'm thinking in terms of, more importantly, is Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Okay. We ain't got time to be worrying about what the West thinks. You know, the Sahel needs to come together as a unit. We'll have our own currency. We'll have our own passport. We'll do all these things now, and we're kicking everybody else out. And if you don't like it, you don't have to stay. But the one thing that we've run into this, and what I also see happening, and I'm not sure if anyone else has seen those pop the balloon type of videos. You know, they parade somebody and then they pop in the balloons.
Yes.
Only on how they look as soon as they walk in the door. They know nothing about this person. So that is a defect of that's a defect of humans in general, frankly. Okay. If you're going to put someone into a subclass of how they look, and without even realizing that the president of Liberia speaks better English than the president of the United States does. Oh, what a surprise. Oh my God, what a surprise, right? And Lee, you know me for 20 years. You know how I feel about English. You know how I feel about English. You need to master.
Where did you
English.
learn your English from?
Man, look.
It's so
You
good.
speak so well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what these knuckleheads think like. Okay, they're so shocked, and that's why. Oh, what's his reaction? Oh, low IQ. Okay, as if his lighter skin, his non-melanated skin, makes him a higher IQ. Please. So these are some of the things that we really. I'm not saying to dismiss this conversation, but in a lot of ways, collectively, we need to get past all that in so many ways, because again, you know, I'm a product of a mixed mom. Okay. Maybe I'm an octoroon. I don't know what they want to call us now. Okay. But at the end of the day, when I walk out this door, I'll be just as black as Sonia and just as light as Ramona. It won't matter to them.
Right.
Now, that's where another thing that needs to creep into the conversation is, okay, so if we all, oh, look, remember roots, Michael, okay? We're all the same tribe now. We're all in the same boat. Amen. So in other words, what are we going to do about that? I have thoughts about that. I've written articles on it and things such as this about how to gain and leverage economic security with something I'm involved in. And I'll share this with Lee maybe over lunch. We're going to meet later on today. But again, this is one of the things that hinders us. It stunts our growth. We believe that we're going to have some excuse for not being further along than we are. And it's just not the case. However, if we collectively supply our people with the resources that have been deliberately kept from our people, we got a lot of millionaires, several billionaires. Okay. Bill Gates is giving half his money away. Bezos is giving half his money away. His wife is certainly giving half her money away. Why can't these be tunneled toward what's better for this community, to look past the word gentrification and use it to be beautification? Okay. Again, because we have a traditionally black neighborhood doesn't mean that no one else is welcome. But what we can do is together beautify our neighborhood so it's a clean, safe place to live. Okay. One of the things I admire most about Baltimore is what y'all do to your stoops. I mean, who else does this? I mean, you have contests about the stoops, but that gives you an outward sense of pride in where you live. Mm-hmm. And to be very honest with you, you know, it's just like, you know, we also get Pittsburghers get this depiction of a dirty steel city. It's just not. If you've ever been to Pittsburgh, you know that's a lie, because it's clean, it's secure, it's one of the better places to live, it's affordable. But again, we have this whole perception of what something is supposed to be like from the years past. It's like me, there's a BC Don. There's a BC Don who majored in Sinology 1, Sinology 2, and Advanced Sin Studies. And now I'm an AD Don. I've crucified the past. What's that got to do? If you still remember me then, look, I am not going to live a negative life twice. I'm looking forward. So, and going forward from here, in light of all the assaults that's being done by this administration, in spite of all the assaults that they're trying to visit upon us, what are they attacking most? Our sense of self. Truly, our sense of self.
Absolutely.
And we got to stand up and say, where are you getting this from? Unfortunately, we have a Supreme Court that's complicit, and that's a problem. So
let me get the sisters in. So look, Sandra got the fan going. She
where
over
the
there.
fans at?
This
Where the
brother is
fans at?
where the
Where the
fans
fans
at?
at?
Oh Lord!
Where
Then
the
she put the
fans
light
at?
on. Then she got the light on the fan while she fanning the cheek.
Shine the light on it.
Please know it is what it is. I am a woman of a certain age going through a certain space in life.
Her inner
Please
child
know.
her inner child is playing with matches, y'all. That's what she's trying to say.
And I am a Southern lady, so the
That's a
fan
good
is
one.
staple. We were born with
You
fans.
go, girl. You go, girl.
Good morning, everyone. But don't you hate the whole? He speaks so well. What was he supposed to sound like? Was Ebonics supposed to be part of what he was? I have done that. I have endured that my entire life. She speaks so well. First of all, Alabama born and bred, except for my 20 years in the Army. But my mother was a teacher. She was not having no, my mother wasn't having that. So she stressed education. She stressed putting your best self forward, be you black, white, orange, or whatever. Your best foot forward was going to be put forward. My entire life being probably one of the darker people on the panel, when I walk into a room, I too am perceived as having an attitude. I think it's just an air of confidence. Why should I hold my head down? There is no reason for me to hold my head down. And if you don't walk in with a sense of confidence, then that other label gets affixed to you. And I'm not going to conform to what people think about me. I am not going to get hung. What you think about me is your own business. I can care less. I'm just not going to allow anybody else to put onto me what they're carrying. I got enough baggage of my own. I don't need nobody else's.
Say that again.
Yep.
Say that.
So I think it's weird because my ex-husband is from Puerto Rico, straight off the island. And we have two daughters. Our daughters are 31 and 29. And Puerto Ricans come in hues. So my husband was of the darker hue, but my oldest daughter is of the lighter hue, and my youngest is of the darker hue, like me. But my granddaughter, she's 5 years old. She started kindergarten last week. There was a little girl. There's already an issue of bullying. She's 5 years old, and my daughter, again, is of the lighter hue of Puerto Ricans. So in her genealogy, my granddaughter, she is Puerto Rican and black, and on her father's side, she's Salvadoran and German. So she is real light. She's damn near opaque light. And the little girl told her she was weird. And Nala is the sweetest, friendliest little something ever. She really is. Nala is I'm going to fight for the underdog because I don't want anybody to pick on anybody. Fully aware of, Ms. Mia's her grandmother, just because you're of a lighter hue, you're still viewed as, they still see you as black. It don't matter. And it doesn't matter. At 5 years old, this is happening. And we think we've come a long way to dispel that. But somehow we haven't. Until you're 5. You're in kindergarten. Where do we start? And I guess I know it starts at home, but where do we start saying we're viewed all the same way? I don't care if you I don't know who's watching this, but sometimes white people have a few names here down south. We call them 8.5 by 11s, white sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11s. So the 8.5 by 11s are going to look at you the same way they look at me. You're going to get treated. You may get that sliver of, you may get a little bit of an edge because you're of a lighter hue. But ultimately, they think of you the same way, which really makes me think of Tim Scotts and all of those other people like that. They still see you the same way as they see me. And I don't even understand why you out here cooning and they still see us the same way. How can you coon to somebody and you know what they think about you, and you know how they view you. I will never understand that.
That hit home for a reason. You'll understand in this half a second. But I talked to the light skinned folks and asked them some of the names they've been called. Redbone came up. What has been the moniker placed upon you early on in life?
You pretty for a chocolate girl. You just can't say I'm pretty.
Yeah,
That's hard.
Yeah.
You're pretty for you're pretty to be chocolate. Well, chocolate comes in white too, but okay. And since that is my last name, but okay, we just go. And all you can say to that is you couldn't come with so many words in the English language. That's as basic as you could call me, pretty, being a chocolate girl. I'm not gonna say thank you because that's not a compliment to me. Now, if you just said you pretty, okay, you the guy. I know, thank you, because my father and this Ali and I had this conversation. And my entire life, my father always told me that I was beautiful. And I had a father. My parents were married for 52 years before my father died. My father told me I was beautiful every day of my life. And my mother, being an Alabama native, my mother told all of us, there are 7 of us. She told us, y'all are not the prettiest, but so y'all gonna be the smartest. That's something for you. Taken in context, she was brought up in the 20s and 30s. So that in Alabama, so that was what that was. And on some level, I guess I still carry. My mother was not dark skinned. She was of the lighter version. But you married somebody that was jump boot black. Make that make sense. Did you not think out of 7 kids, a couple of them was gonna be really dark? You married a really dark person. And the way genetics work, the further you get down the line, and I'm number 6, the further you get down the line, the thinner the genetics. You figured by child number 4, we was turning out real dark around that time. You know, children 1, 2, and 3. My brother was relatively light. My sister was relatively light. My third sister, we started turning that corner to darkening up. And everybody after that, we was just black. And to be told as a child, you're not that pretty because you're dark, and it wasn't because of it was because we were dark. You're not that pretty, so we're gonna make sure you're smart. How do you take that as a kid? Like, damn, my own mama don't think I'm pretty. Oh, okay then.
And then it's not this. Do you carry it into your adulthood?
You do, because it's reinforced by society that because you're not lighter, you're not as pretty as everyone else. And that's honestly why, Lee, you've known me for a very long time. That is honestly why when I enter a room, I'm the baddest broad in the room. I can care less who's in. Halle Berry can be in there. I always say, I'm not Halle Berry, but damn it, I'm not Chuck Berry either.
Gotcha. Angela.
Well, I mean, I've had the similar experience as her in terms of, you're
hold on, Angela.
Girl.
Can you start by saying where you are?
I'm in South Carolina.
Oh wow, Tim Scott, South Carolina. Oh, it's amazing how those lines connect.
But the difference is I had a mom that always enforced to me that I was beautiful. I mean, she was always enforcing that. Where it came into play was at school. I was always in the classes with all the white kids, so they didn't say much to me. But on the bus, on the ride home, it got a little rough. But because I was darky, I was this, I was that. So that name calling, you heard it. And then, as she said, you do carry it into adulthood. But when you have that offset, like, because at home, my mom and my family were always, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. I developed, kind of almost an arrogance about it. I was like, I know I'm cute. I don't care what they say. I know I'm cute. And I walk into every room like I know I'm the she's there. I'm like you, Sonya. I don't care if Hallie in there. Hallie put her skirt on the same way I do. So I always try to walk in the room with that confidence, even if I'm terrified. I just walk in, just be confident. I tell myself, be confident when you walk in, because somebody is judging me simply because I'm darker.
You couldn't have said a word. You did not said a word. But the minute you hit that door, because your skin has melanin, you were judged to be one of the lesser intelligent people in the room. And they hadn't said boo cat damn to you. They don't know you from Adam.
I was actually told, I don't know, Lee, you know this. I ran as a political candidate down here in the South. And I actually had a black woman tell me she couldn't vote for me because I was too dark for her. So I was like, oh, I don't quite know how to respond to that, but okay, thank you for your input.
That's right. Thank
but
you.
I heard that, and it
Was she dark skinned?
No, she was a little bit lighter. She wasn't quite as light as Ramona, but I mean, she was, a little bit more caramel. But and I just and I mean, she was immaculately dressed. Everything
Miss
about
Angela.
her was impressive until she said that, and then I was just looking at her like,
Well, Miss Angela, we have to remember how much work we've had to do since 1974. We couldn't have owned anything. We couldn't buy nothing. We couldn't. So especially since the 50s when we turned the corner on even how we look. Think about how much change black women have been going through. Let's just cap it at 1950, okay? From not doing straightening our hair to not to what kind of clothes we wear, not putting on hyper red lipstick, finding our own hues and tones for our own definition of beauty, allowing ourselves to wear ethnic tribal gear without feeling like we're pretending to be of a different culture. And all that we had to do and embed into our daughters. If we wanted to see any real change, right? We had to tell them, where's your money? Not his money is fine. Get that too. But then where is your money? Where is your money? Where is so we've been doing that. And in the midst of that, we got bamboozled into the idea of who's going to be able to go get the money. Like we didn't hire each other per se. We had to hit the market as thinking women. So we had to find a way to look a certain way on these jobs. We had to find a way to still have our individuality and our personal lives, and and then impart that knowledge into our daughters, and hopefully make it look good enough that our sons decide they want someone who looks like us, right? Because a lot of what we see, and the reason why you have this admixture is there are black men who look at their black mama and opt out. They opt out, and they passport themselves on to or they go find that Korean lady that they left with the baby, like Lee got over in Korea. They go get her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
Woo!
and then and then 3 generations later, we got Tiger Woods, right?
But we got to own some of that. You don't think? I have to say I agree. But as black women, we got to own some of that. We can't specifically say that it's kind of all on them. We have to own some of that because we got a lot of twerking on the internet. We have a lot of things. We have come way far from what we were taught and what we know. And change is good, but some things really need to be left in their respective place. So we got to own some of that. We have to.
I
The
agree
society has taught us. One thing my mother used to do with my dad, and it was so awesome. I kind of miss it sometimes. My mom was a teacher. My father owned a construction business. So we were a middle class family. I've known middle class my whole life. I ain't going to apologize for it. It is what it is. When my father came home, there were 5 girls. My brother, 5 girls, and my little brother on the back end. My dad came home. He took off his construction stuff outside. He came in. He went, took a shower. By the time he came back, it was a plate of food sitting on that table. He didn't have to get up to the stove to do nothing. He came, he sat at the head of the table, and a plate of food was put in front of him. He ate that food. He got up from that table, and it was up to he got 6 women in that house. He not gonna work. My mom was like, he's not gonna work all day and come home and have to do and work too. That's not how that goes. She worked outside the home, as did he. Did they equally share chores? No, because they had the slave labor, which was 7 kids to do that. But again, we have to own some. As a Black woman, we were taught the whole burning the bra thing. That was a whole 8.5 by 11 type something. I don't even know how we ever got roped up into that. When that whole thing came about, that was a way of dividing us as a community.
Yep.
And when they divided us as a community, they just kept on burning bras. And I'm all for equal rights. I truly am. But I'm also for the nuclear family. I really do think that the nuclear family is just no more. And we got to bring that back together. We've got to bring back, you marry who you love, and whatever
Yeah.
works for you, works for you.
Mr.
But
Donner.
we have to take some ownership. As a Black woman, we got to own some of that.
Mr. Donnie, how much of this is we just mad because we think y'all masters kids and y'all got? Is that it? Are we still like stuck in historical? Are
Look
y'all
at
just
Ramona's face. Look at
y'all
Ramona's face.
masters kids? Them is masters kids. So leave him alone. How much of this is us really as a nation thinking that y'all masters great grandkids, and so that there's some kind of uh, privilege that was bestowed upon you in your lineage that we have to honor, us non-affiliated. We gotta honor that the so it could be that we know how close you were to the evil, right? So we gotta treat you a certain way because y'all was up in there with them, or y'all are they y'all family, or y'all still affiliated with the ideology? How much of this is historical memory? I want to know, in your opinion.
I think in some respects,
But it ain't their
there has
fault.
to
They
there
were
has
just born. It ain't your fault.
there has to be a humbling, frankly. Okay, if you believe you're all that, then you need to be broken down. That's all there's to it. And at the same time, if you hear someone saying, "Oh, just because they're yellow, then they are this," no, you need to defend them as a Black person. Okay, that comes from the top and the bottom, and in the middle, then we all now have a one cohesive identity, and that's the most important thing. So the colorism is strong. I hear it from my mother's family over there in Virginia. I really do. And we hear it elsewhere. But at the end of the day, who are we? Who are we? And that's what we got to answer for ourselves. Who do we believe that we are? Now, we can always go reach back to our so-called roots in Africa, okay? But all that's going to do in so many respects is not necessarily honor your roots, but it's going to make you stand out as something weird to these people over here, even our own folks, unfortunately. Okay. And then all of a sudden you're perceived as haughty or an arrogant person. You walk around with no smiles, just an arrogant look. I am Black and look how I'm dressed. Okay. At the same time, there are so many people in the continent who do not dress like that either, unless they are really tribal deep down into the heart of it all. In the more modern parts of Africa, Liberia, parts of Nigeria and everything else, they are dressed in a modern way, meaning as the dress of today is not so much European, but it's suit and coats, it's dresses and all those. That's the modern way to look. And these fashions have evolved over time. Now the question then becomes, and I see a lot of people who are countering of my faith who want to dress like Arabs way back in, the first century. What's that mean? Okay, is your heart in the same place? Or, are you really going to just divorce yourself from everyone else because you may feel aggrieved or you feel you're trying to make some statement? And again, I am never going to judge anybody's dress or their opinion. But the question is, what are you trying to say to us? And then when you really dress yourself to stand out away from everybody else, are you not then looking upon the rest of us as saying, well, see, you're not Black enough? I mean, come on, right? And all of a sudden now it becomes a destructive, toxic, caustic internal debate among our people, which is so destructive. I mean, it's really, really horrible. And I think in so many ways it's self-induced suicide that we do to ourselves. When outside of ourselves, we are all one color. It doesn't matter. Okay. And if they think you're pretty because you're light, I can find some sisters who are as dark as you, Sonya, if not darker, who just flat out gorgeous. And that's not because I have a particular preference for that color. It's just that you are. I mean, it's just the way it is. Grace Jones is all of a sudden she was an ugly duckling, but all these white men wanted her in the worst way at that point, right? Because again, this is what happens when. Let me end this by saying, because I'm gonna have to go, Lee. I'm sorry. if someone makes a caustic statement towards you about either your color, your IQ, or whatever, make them explain themselves. What do you mean by that? Really, I'm trying to think. What do you mean by that?
Yes.
And then they must hear themselves say it. Okay, okay, and then you can say, okay, and then really, where did you get that from? I need to understand why you feel this way. And then the thing to do is, of course, to leave them wallowing in their own destructive thoughts. Okay. It doesn't matter what you think of me. I just want to know where you get this from in the first place. Why do you think that I am like that person, that criminal? I've never been a criminal. Why do you think I'm? Because I'm black. Really? Where'd that come from? Why do you think that? Well, studies also show that you people make more crime than we do. Your people are on welfare more than we are per capita. It doesn't really matter. Don't come out here trying to block all these people so you can feel better, because Lyndon Johnson said it. If you make
Yep.
a white man feel that he's
Yep.
superior to the poorest black man, etc., etc., etc. Lee,
Take
I
his
gotta
back.
go, boss. Love you so much, bro.
Thank
Okay.
you. Love you too. See you
Yes, sir.
soon.
I'm putting
Nice to
my
meet you,
link.
Donnie. Nice to
My
meet you,
pleasure, bro.
sir.
Hey, man. One for both thumbs.
Oh,
Both
good
thumbs.
Lord. Just
Both thumbs,
go,
man.
man. Just go. See, that's that light skin privilege. See that right here? This is
I'm,
what I'm talking
I'm beige, brother. I'm beige. I told you I'm
about.
beige,
You
man.
gotta make the exit.
Love you, bro. I'll see you soon. I'll
Yes,
see
sir.
you
See you this
soon.
afternoon, man. Take care, y'all.
So Ramona, I
Yes.
want to come back to you, then I'm gonna go to Mike. Ramona, you had some feelings going on. I saw it in your faces. We were having some discussions. Talk to me. What were your thoughts?
I was just listening to the beautiful women assembled here today, sharing their experiences, even within their families, right? So colorism is something that we learn at home. It's we aren't reading about it, we are
Hmm.
experiencing it in real time. And so I know, thank God for parents who affirm who we are and the confidence in us, because the world
Yes.
doesn't give us that same level of kindness. And you would think that as Black people, we would embrace each other, but there are still very clearly drawn lines about how we perceive individuals. And so I will share in this space that my father is biracial. He had a white mother. I have a mom who is beautifully brown, like Miss Sonia, and I came somewhere in the middle. And so Lee, we have a mutual friend who has issues with his own color. And that conversation manifests itself every time we are together. And I will say affirmatively, no matter what ancestry.com may suggest, my mother is a beautiful brown Black woman. So if you ask me what I am a Black woman too. I take no specific pride in the fact that this complexion came out the way that it did. And I think it's, when you hear people express that, you're pretty for a brown girl, or you are whatever the case may be, these backhanded compliments, it makes me think that people are not well within themselves. Like, they don't have, no matter what their color is, if I had to approach another Black woman to say to her, you are pretty for a Black, for a chocolate woman, or what does that say about me? What is wrong with me that I haven't fully identified with the fact that I'm Black no matter what, right? So Jay-Z made a song about it, billionaires, trillionaires in the same circles with white people, having the same, amass the same wealth, but at the end of the day, still injure, right? That's the bottom line. And I think, Donnie was making a great point about how we have to get beyond these barriers with that in our own community and gather together, because the world, this administration, national leadership is not looking at us any differently. They're trying to figure out how to regress all of this project, this progress that we've made, and we'd be better served by figuring out more commonalities than how to figure out how to tear each other down, right? Based on who we are at our core.
I'm going to get the mic to get his thoughts thus far. Then I'm going to ask some more deep diving questions. Mike, if you can hear us, because I know you've been having some connectivity problems. What have been your thoughts thus far?
Yeah,
Looks like he
I
froze.
moved closer to my. I
There you
apologize,
go.
everyone. We got
Yeah, we lost you. You did the Mr. Robot. There you go. There
Now
you
There
go.
you go.
I had to move around because we got a lot of rain over yesterday, and power went out about a second ago, and that's why I'm keep going in and out. My
Nah, you
apologies.
good now. We got you. So, what were your thoughts? I'm sorry.
Uh, oh, you wanted me to give thoughts? Okay.
Yes.
Um, I think I agree with Donnie. And I feel like this. I think this platform, and when we're out in the world around family or whatever, I think it's important, like Donnie said, that I do. I ask, my brothers and sisters, whether they're light skinned or dark skinned, I ask them, what do you mean by that? Hey, you got all the ladies. Where does that come from? And that's typical, and, I used to get that when I was younger. I still get it. Um, but that's not necessarily true. I think I'm all about informing, educating, and edifying no matter what color we are. I will say this a short story. When George Floyd happened and all of that stuff, we've always had to teach our young black men and women to behave a certain way, to walk a certain way, to act a certain way. And um, I have two sons, 26 and 33. And as we're talking on this panel, I'm thinking about, wow, we not only have to tell them how to behave when they're stopped, by a police officer, but years ago, I had to sit down with both my sons and explain to them, you might encounter issues with your own brothers and sisters, whether they're jealous of your skin or jealous or whatever it may be. So I'm thinking about, as everyone's sharing, the the multiple things that we have to educate our children on, and this is one of them. And they're at a place now where they've experienced it, but they also understand that not everybody's the same, and that even though in their experiences of experiencing colorism, there are good people. And I'm always telling them everybody's not the same. Every female is not the same. Every guy is not the same. And I refuse, and they do too, to let people put labels on me. I'm going to my family reunion in Tennessee at the end of this month. I've got dark skin, light skin, and I'm like Donnie and probably all of us on this panel. I refuse to let labels be put on me, and I just don't have those kind of conversations. If I do, I'm going to come from the perspective when people say, where'd you get those green eyes, and let's talk about that, and to educate and things of that nature. But I don't I don't like when people try to put labels on me. You're light skin with green eyes and stuff like that. Okay, so what?
So
I'm a black man. At the end of the
let's go.
day, I'm a black
Let's
man.
let's go from there. So, for your children, both of your children are fair skinned.
So yeah, both of them, absolutely.
Okay.
They're my
Okay.
complexion. Both of them have light brown eyes, and they've come to me, and they've had issues with my youngest son in particular. He's 26, and don't, God forbid, don't be educated and have your stuff together and be black. Period. you
Right.
know,
Right.
because it's just crazy. If you're dark skinned, you're too aggressive. If you're light skinned, you're too soft. And all these labels, it was a masterful job that white folks did on us.
Ooh,
But even now, one sister said we can't continue to give them credit for that. This information and being informed about this, I refuse to have this mentality. I don't like her because she's dark skinned. I don't like her because she's like. No, we're black at the end of, and that's the way they see us. Ask Snoop Dogg and ask
Yeah,
Nelly.
I'm glad you
We
mentioned
still
Snoop Dogg,
black. We
Brother Henry.
black.
Brother Henry, Snoop Dogg, family went from his mama looking like Miss Sonia, and his grandchildren are they look like Michael Jackson's kids.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was over years. Now he picked a black wife, but Calvin Jr. and Junior, whatever, they did not. Their affluence and their ability to be close to, they can choose. They're not Pookie stuck in the projects. they're Curtis Jr. with the affluence, and I think that's what the hostility used to come from. It's not even from us thinking you are intrinsically more attractive. It's like a hostility from maybe proximity to power.
Yep.
Like somehow y'all got a and I see it with, accepting y'all, you're not like the others. Anytime I see a black person say, except you're not like the others, it's a problem, whether they are hyper intelligent, and I think it's the passing too. You want to know when y'all hurt our feelings? It was back in the day when there was a whole movement to pass and look and assimilate into a different culture away. Now anybody should be, it makes sense. Who wanna be poor? Who wanna be poor and noticeably black? And if you can get away with being marginally white and somewhat more affluent, just based on where you can be a school teacher now and not a handmaid. You could be a this and not a that. So passing, I think historically, which people have done for a long time, people still trying to pass. What's her name? Rachel's still out there working her magic. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but
But she trying to pass
She
the other way.
reverse passing.
Yeah, she trying to pass the other way.
She want to be right.
passing. The idea is I am this, but it
Yeah.
comes with socioeconomic burden. So I want to be more that. And I think that is where we got the hang up. I don't know any fair. By the way, I don't use red bone and stuff. I call it fair skin, and I don't know why. I don't know, because I had to be told that I had to be told what to call it, because I
Yeah.
thought light skin was offensive, half breed ain't right, light bright is
God
offensive,
dang.
red bone ain't good.
Listen,
I
I've
went.
been called people by their names. That's a
Called
good starting point. And so let me tell you, I went to my family reunion just 2 weeks ago. As I have indicated, my mother is beautifully brown, like Miss Sonia, and her siblings and their children, right? So it's just how it works out. So I walk in with my daughter, who is a lighter hue than me, and the reception was, "Oh, here come the
She's about
light
to say high
brights."
yellow, y'all. She
No,
had to catch
light brights is what, right? My cousin Mildred, like, no, like, why y'all so light? Like light bulbs. Y'all just stick out around here. This is my family, right? That I've traveled 6.5 hours to visit with. And so I think the objective would be to call people by their names when you know them and not their
come on,
attributes.
that's it.
And that's something that we do. If somebody asks you, do you know Lee? Yeah, I know Lee. Is so tall, brown skin Lee. That's how we do. If we get away from that, maybe that'd be a step towards
Yeah,
not having to have
I know peanut
conversations like
head Lee.
this.
You know round belly peanut head Lee. You know what with the butter nose. With the
You
butter
see the
nose.
abuse? You see the
Come
abuse?
on, you know butter nose round head Lee.
Angela.
I
So
would say the Air
when you
Force
go to
reject Lee, but we ain't gonna
oh
go there.
wow. When you go to your family reunion, are you in the majority of the crew or the minority of the crew?
We hadn't had a family reunion in a while. Big Mama
Okay.
died, and so did the family reunion, evidently.
Mm.
But
Your
I
people
would
get you?
say I'm probably, when we did have family reunions, I think I'm on the darker side, and I don't know why. I mean, a lot of
Are your
my
people geeky?
no,
Okay.
I I don't know. Maybe it's on my mom's side. They're a little bit more chocolate
Okay.
than my dad's side, but my dad's side was probably just a teensy bit darker than Michael, and I guess I got mom's color. I don't know.
And I
Now,
was about to say it depends on sides because my mom's side, they were the lighter skinned people. So when we go to family reunions for my mom's side, we're not the oddballs out, but we're the darker ones. But on
Yeah.
my dad's side, they're the darker ones. And it's crazy because my dad's side, they're the more reserved. They are your educators. They are your professional people. My mom's side, the light skinned, they are some wild behind people. I tell you the truth. So there was always this era of on my dad's side, be proud because you are black, you are educated. My mom's side, them people was just crazy. They were light skinned people, but they was nuts.
So, question about that in the dating, marriage, mating, whatever world. Do
Oh,
you
it's rough.
feel do you feel a certain attraction toward a specific hue, or not?
No.
Well,
I don't.
my current boyfriend is white and got his fur and he's got 4 paws and he's over there laying on the floor.
Look at the damn dog.
So
Look at the damn
if you
dog.
put it in that context, I love a white boy. I love my little baby to death. I
There we
wouldn't trade
go.
him for anything. But
Right.
people are people. If you start getting into, I think everybody on this panel is above 20 years old. If we start buying into features and not how people are, I think that's a bit shallow. And I'm just specifically saying for this age group because we're all over 40 in this group. And we are all too old to be trying to say, oh, he light skinned. He light skinned with
Light
green
skinned with
eyes.
good hair. With good
That girl,
But in
if
our
you got
younger,
hair this day and age, we doing good.
Well,
right.
but
But
in our
I
let's
youth,
all
will
be for real.
say,
Aesthetics are what attracts us. I would have never known that Lee has a great personality. Right. It is just right. You don't see that across the room. So I do think like let's just be for real. We
yeah,
all have some preferences when it comes to
you know,
I like men with big personalities. So it
big person. Look at the pause. Big personalities. Let me find the word I want to use.
because you know what come with a big personality.
Oh, praise be to the white Jesus. No, no, no.
but
Okay,
I
we was
mean,
just talking about that last week. I was telling them I got Buck syndrome. So there is some historical. If your
We
mom
lost her. Uh,
living in force in your
start
life
with Bucks.
and
Start
she's a
with
big
Buck
old
syndrome. We missed
round booty
something.
black woman, big old, the ancient mama type archetype, you don't gravitate to her. You gravitate towards something maybe more wiry, a little bit less talkative. There can be something that happens in your youth that what you see, if your daddy was a huge black man that used to smack the shit out of your mama, you might go find you a little bitty wiry, sure, fair skinned gentleman, because in your mind you have it triggered, a certain way. We don't know, Lee, what drive is like that always, but there is always what you say, a drive, right? What we want to know is this. Can I ask y'all this though? Do you see it when you doing it? Do you recognize your preference? Have you looked back in all your relationships and done an audit of who got what attention and say to yourself, then any self-analysis on why I know I got Buck. If his shoulders is more than 2 feet wide, he got my number. I got Buck
but see,
syndrome. It's clear. I know
define
what
Buck
happened. But
syndrome.
how
So
about
you know
y'all?
what
Have
that
y'all done a
is.
look and see what had happened back in the day?
Angela,
What's the Buck syndrome? What is a
she's,
Buck?
she said, "What's
I
a
would
buck?"
imagine it would be the big, strong
Black.
black buck
Right,
type
right.
syndrome.
Dark,
Yeah.
dark skin, big, strong, black, just blackity black. So, Mike,
I got to be
you were
black and
saying,
black.
Huh?
Mike, you were saying something about that
Yeah, I
question.
went, as I've gotten older, I went all the way back to, I'm from a little small country town, would never move back there in East Tennessee. Um,
Never moved back.
no, never. Predominantly white high school. Most, practically all the black females that were there, I was related to them. So what did we do? We gravitated toward white, right? And then I left there at 18, came in the military, went, traveled the world, and I developed an appreciation for our sisters. Now, when I was in high school, I stayed away from lighter skinned sisters. I cannot to this day tell you why, but I love dark skinned sisters. I can tell you, I always thought that the light-skinned sisters were Miss Prissy and couldn't be talked to or touched because of, just, when you go to in California, it was a little different environment out there. So here I am coming from Tennessee, going straight to California, and it was environment. So the environment really shaped how I saw and viewed light-skinned versus dark-skinned sisters. But then as I got older and started studying and started reading about our history and stuff like that, and came to understand that, color preference and what we're talking about now, our sisters are beautiful, light skin, dark skin, didn't matter. But my environment when I was younger shaped how I saw our black men, black women. My environment shaped that. So, but as I've gotten older, I still love my black queens. My mother's black. People, and sometimes people, I get on people's nerve. We choose who we love. Love is a choice. This is my opinion. We choose who we love. I can choose to go out there and date a white woman. I can choose that. I just choose not to. I choose to date our black women. My mother's black, and I'm gonna stay true to that. That's my opinion. Some people don't have that opinion. Some people don't think like that. I love my black queens.
That's what's up. Angela, you were smiling hard. What's up?
Well,
in your youth, who got your attention in your youth?
I'm not gonna lie, my mama. That was one thing my mother always said: don't date somebody that's your color. Date lighter. So I have to say, I would be looking, in my youth, I was looking more at a Michael type than anything, because mother always said, date lighter. And I don't know that I've completely gotten out of that phase. I am more intentional about it. And I
about dating lighter.
Yeah. I think about it more than I used to, because it's like, well, why am I picking him over him?
Mm-hmm.
And, but at the same time, I've had a lot of black men tell me that I'm just too dark for them. So, I mean,
Wow.
it is for a black woman, my color, to be dark chocolate right now, we still ain't in all the way. Still ain't all the way in. I mean, we're becoming more.
Y'all on the line, y'all like.
We ain't all the way in yet. I mean, Lupita and some of them have helped us out.
Definitely,
but
we getting there. We chugging along. We getting there though.
I thought Michelle put y'all over the top. I thought Michelle Obama put y'all over the top.
What? No, because really, I get hit on probably more often by white men than I do brothers. Brothers look at me and my educational aspiration, where I've achieved educationally and professionally. They say, nah, you too much trouble. I ain't studying.
Or you look like you cost money. What is that?
Right,
What's up with that one? Am I supposed to look poor? I'm confused by that one.
Hold on. I can support that from most people. I cannot support that from her. You do look like you cost money. You walk in with 7 Birkin bags at one time.
Okay, so would I be more palatable? Would I be more palatable then if I were poor? Would I be more palatable then if I had chip? I'm confused.
Just one Birkin bag. You ain't gotta walk in with all 7 at a time.
Oh, okay. As a man, then pull yourself together to be able to buy me one.
Right. That part, son. Just don't look at us as being too expensive. Look at us as being exquisite, and you just need to rise up a little.
I like that.
I am never going to apologize. All of my everything I have bought myself. No man is there. Lee, you know me. I'm a shoe girl. I have over 200 pairs of shoes. I love shoes. But I don't allow a man to buy me shoes because they don't understand how I love shoes. I'm not going to ask you to buy me anything that I have not bought myself. So let's not. I'm not supposed to look like I cost money, because should I not bring you up as the man? People should look at her and say, Well, dang, I know she got him looking good, or they look good as a couple.
Together.
That's right.
So
That's
we're
right.
not supposed. If you got me out here looking like Raggedy Ann, what is that saying about you as the man?
Come on.
Mercy, Raggedy Ann, never.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just, you know me. I'm just me and this real. You know what? One of the weirdest things that ever happened to me. I worked at PUD headquarters for a very long time, and under the tutelage of Dr. Ben Carson. And it was one of the strangest. It was one of the strangest things. When I go to meetings, and he'd be in meetings, I made him visibly uncomfortable because I am always going to wear some braids. I am always going to rock me being black. Now, me being black in certain rooms makes other blacks uncomfortable. And I'm okay with that because guess what? At the end of the day, you're black too. So again, I can't be responsible for your comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be responsible for mine. But at least acknowledge the fact that you're not going to find me with no weaves, no straight hair. If you wear them, I ain't mad at you, do what you do. But that's not me and my struggle and my story. So I'm not going to be responsible for making somebody else comfortable or uncomfortable. I'm just going to be me. And I my whole life, you look like you cost money. Well, thank you. It used to really bother me. But at this juncture in life, okay, thank you. You either rise to the challenge and afford me. Every woman has got a price. You just got to find one that's in your tax bracket and then work with that one. And if you know you ain't in my tax bracket, then don't approach me. Stay over there.
So let's rotate to you since you got the mic for the moment. Have you had in your youth a preference in dating?
Yes. I like this. My mom always said go for the smart guys because the smart ones always are always going to endure and going to last. Brain power lasts forever. So it never was a black or white for me. It was a smart or not. But the classes I was in, I was, if not the only one of two. I was not surrounded by a bunch of blacks. And like the experience that Angela has, on the bus, it was all black people going to where I'm going. But during the day, I only saw other black people really at lunchtime. It's not to say the black guys were not smart. It's just that they didn't want to show that smartness because they didn't want to be in those classes away from the other black people. So that put me I too get approached by a lot of white people. Okay, no. So, look, what I ain't gonna do is marry a white person. That's just I ain't got nothing against white people, but that's just not my specific flavor of person. And I hated that black men really don't approach me because I look like I cause money. I hate the hell out that. I really do, because there are some wonderful black men out there. Y'all are wonderful. I love y'all to the bone. I love y'all.
Yes, Lord.
But again, approach me. I'm never gonna approach a man because that's what makes
That's all we asking for. Can we get the same love? We love you.
Look. I love y'all I love y'all. I really do. Just like that pisses you off. One of the things that this really bothers me, just like it bothers you, is that when I've met somebody, you look too pretty. I get
what?
Me? I get that a lot, and so in relationships, that's a challenge. But I get that a lot from some females.
But shouldn't I tell you that female is not for you then, because she is making a snap decision and don't even know you?
I run the other way. Run the other way.
I mean, it's just too easy to say, "Oh, you're handsome,me," and move forward, and we keep on with our conversation.
And from everybody on the panel, we have obviously diverse colors on here, right? But don't also be informed and educated, because not only does our skin tone intimidate people, if you're, because I've been in the workplace. I'm a light-skinned dude, but the title aggressive, I wanted to address that earlier. If you're dark-skinned, light-skinned, but if you're outspoken, you're light-skinned, you're still aggressive. And if you look at the roots of our history, and I have a brother from Lagos, right? If you look at a lot of Africans that come to this country, they come across aggressive, confident, and sharp. That's our nature. That's who we are. To be outspoken, we're not outspoken. That's just our nature. And if a lot of us have lost that, but if you look at a lot of our African brothers that come to this country, they come across and they're viewed as aggressive because they talk very bold. That's who we really are.
But they also come across as condescending and say you're
And they're
not.
not.
They're the first ones to say we're not really black because we're not from Africa.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry,
Exactly.
I didn't choose where I came through
Exactly.
this portal
Right.
called life. I didn't
Exactly.
choose that. So they are a very we're not, and that's another
Yeah.
division
Yeah.
that's put there.
Yeah.
We're not really black. Well, if I ain't really black, hell, what color am I?
Exactly.
Just because we come from two different continents,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I'm any less or more black than the next person. It just means we came to this convergence called life from different places.
But
Absolutely.
that's
I
a
agree with
totally
that.
different story because
Definitely
they
agree with
don't
that.
even consider themselves black. So that's a totally different conversation.
Or
Ramona,
like I have a friend that's a Dominican that say, I know block. I know block. What the hell you mean you know block? That bothers the life out me too. You just as dark as me, but you sitting here screaming, I know block. I know,
Come
man,
on.
get the hell on some. Go on.
Ramona, what has been your experience in your youth? Did you have a preference in your youth?
Um, I don't think I had a preference. I liked men who liked me. So this is something about me. I like to be catered to, and right, my love language is acts of service. You have to do stuff for me. You have to be demonstrative about liking me. You got to be outrageously over the top in expressing your like for me. So I like that type of man. He could be browner or lighter or whatever, but that's a requirement. I
Hmm.
am into that.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So you spoke earlier, go right back to you. You spoke earlier about preferences that you may have received in the workplace.
Hmm.
Has that gotten more often as you've gotten older, or is it something that you saw earlier on your work path and it's more subsided now that you've gotten older?
So I saw it early in my work path. So I've had a federal career that has lasted a long, long time. So coming in, coming into the government, actually I was recruited, right? So blackness is so who I was, who I identified with on paper is the reason that I'm in the federal government now. They recruited me they were looking for HBCU students in my undergraduate major, right? Top of your class and black. So I was recruited to join. When I got there, I was in an internship program with four other HBCU students, and the rest of the class was white. So out of that group, immediately, if there was an opportunity to go to meetings with the agency head, I was always selected. Not saying that I wasn't right. I'm equally qualified. I speak well. All of those things that, are in me to do, my skill set got me into the room. But I was sitting in a room with similarly situated Black people, and inevitably I was the choice to go, right? So I saw that. I saw that in hiring selections. I was able to move really quickly, right? It could be, right, merit. Government has, so let's just be clear, they have certain metrics that they have to follow about getting Black people into seats. And so, do I think I received some advantages in that space? Absolutely. And right, going now in my career, there's not really any more that I can do in terms of grade or there's nothing else, there's no promotion potential for me. I'm staying for the stay. But even in this space, I'm very outspoken, right, about the work, which we should be, right? That's what they hire us to,
Hmm.
to put our expertise on display. But I'm also serious about calling out instances of bias when I see
Hmm.
it. And I feel comfortable doing it because I'm excellent with the work. And they would not ever tolerate it if I were not. But I do see the reactions in the room that I get if I speak out.
Yep.
Let me tell you. So my office, I've been working here a long time. They hire another attorney. My name is Ramona. Her name is Omira. We have similar hues, but clearly different. I've been wearing my hair cut like this since 2008. Give or take, mention sometimes when I might let it grow a little bit and press it and do whatever. But this face is this face, right? This is my mom and daddy's face that they gave me. Omira, who sits in the office next to me, when we go to staff meetings, right? I've been there a long time. They started calling Omira Ramona.
Mm.
So Omira wouldn't say anything. But if you call me something that is not the name Reggie and Thelma Branch gave me, I'm going to say something to you about it. So Omira comes to my office and says, why do they keep calling me Ramona? Why won't they say, why don't they distinguish us? They do. But it's not important enough to them to make the distinction consistently. I'm always Ramona, and then you are Ramona too. They know that there are two different Black women in this space. So I see she's having a problem with it. We go into the next meeting. My boss says the same thing. And our white colleagues think it's funny, so they laugh about it. So I say, you know what? This is getting less and less funny every time you say it. The next time somebody mistakes Ramona for Omira or the reverse, we going across the hall to HR. How about they never ever did it again? They could have stopped it earlier, but they didn't. So I am the person, right? Because I don't feel like I have anything to lose at this point, who also speaks out about injustices. And white people will try it every
Mm-hmm.
single
Yep.
time, right? Which
Yep.
goes back to the fact that we've all been saying, no matter what these hues look like, to them,
Yep.
right?
We all
We
on the
still
same
the
page.
same thing, right? The same way
Still
that
black.
twerking Black women are, we are them too, right? So when men are looking at Black women to make relationship choices, they are taking the sum total of our negative behavior and turning it into a part of their assessment in deciding who they want to date. And I think that that might be separate and apart from hues too, right? So Sonia talked about how Black women have to take responsibility for men choosing white women, exotic women, whatever
Come
they're
on.
choosing, right?
Come on.
At the end of the day, we all grouped and lumped into a thing. And we have to figure out how to get beyond that. But in the workplace, it has definitely played out. I've been in the federal government 34 years. And I've seen it. I've seen them say to me, I work at the Department of Labor. There's always an ambulance out front. And so and we do workman's comp, right? For the entire, I said, there's always an ambulance here. I wonder if these are slips and falls or whatever. My boss looks at me and says, no, Ramona, it's mostly Black women. They don't take care of their health. She said, they don't take care of their health. And I'm looking at her like, ma'am, do you
You
not
know who you
see,
talking to?
did you not see me
Wow.
sitting?
Ramona,
And
I
I
have a
had to
question for
gather
you
her
though.
up, right? I had to gather her up about, Rose, you do know that I too am a Black woman. She was like, I didn't mean it like that. Well, what did you mean it like? So yeah, I mean,
No,
you
no, no.
say
Mm.
all the
What she
right.
said was,
She
I didn't
completely
mean that
forgot.
about you, not about
Not
you.
you, right? They were talking about racial covenants in their neighborhood, which I thought were illegal, right? And so they talking about racial covenants in their neighborhood and how they support it. And they were like, but we would, not you. I'm thinking like they forget sometimes.
Ramon, I have a question. So earlier on, you were mentioning when you were an intern. So do you think you got invited to the meetings because you were more palatable to them than because I'm sure the other people were of a darker
Absolutely.
hue.
Yep.
Absolutely, certainly
Okay.
safe. And I said that in the early, when we start in the introductory part of this. Absolutely, they think I'm safe. And how does it play out? I've moved from that agency, but I still keep in contact with the four of us who were in that space, and of all of them, right, same career trajectory, coming in with the same number of degrees and licensures and credentials, and I am at a place that is different than those same four coming in at the same time. So I do think it's different.
So
Mhm.
I want to get back to the dating space because we only have like 10 minutes left in the show. So no, it's okay. No, you're fine. you did exactly what I needed you to do. I didn't want to go back to the workspace as much because I really wanted to hit on this dating space. And if we got time, we can circle back to the workspace because 3 of you all work for the federal government and someone else is private industry, but trying to get into the government. So that's a different story for a different time.
Don't do it. It's not safe. They're firing people left and right.
Look, but at a different level, trying to get in the government at a different level. So, but anyhow, have you all, ladies first? Mike, I'll end it with you because I love your story and I really want you to tell your story. Ladies, have you felt discriminated against in the dating realm? Meaning, only certain guys would approach you. Yeah, I guess that's the best way of asking that question. Go ahead, Sonia. You got the head nod.
No, I'm just saying very much so, but I don't take that as a slight. I take that as if I'm not for you, I ain't for you. I'm not for everybody. I get that, understand. So I have been, but it doesn't bother me as much as it used to because now I just don't care. You just can't. If you can't afford me, or if I'm not your type, keep moving to the next. You find somebody that works for you. So yes, I have been. It doesn't bother me anymore. I don't care. Whatever.
I was talking more of your hue than your dollar signs, but I got
even if at 57 my hue bothers you, because I ain't dating nobody. I'm not dating nobody in their 20s, 30s, and early 40s. I'm just not doing that. I ain't going to jail. If it bothers you in your 50s, what color I am, I don't care.
Look at the cougar Ramona. She's like, well, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm with you, Ramona. Wait a minute, son. Wait a minute now.
I'm not going to jail. It's too. I'm not doing that, Shannon Sharp. I have amassed too much in life to get into a job. I'm not doing that. Not doing that.
That is disrespectful.
So yes, I have, and it's getting no easier being older and being dark skinned. But you know what? If I ain't for you, I ain't for you. And I'm not going to contort my life to fit you, to make you feel better about yourself. No, I ain't doing it. So I don't care. Keep moving.
Angela, what you got? Do you feel like you've been discriminated against in dating because of your hue?
Yeah. Because I do. I get that guys have actually said to me, I prefer someone lighter. And I mean, I'm kind of like Sonia. I've kind of always been like Sonia is right now. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I can be a lot. I am a lot. And I know that. I've always been that way. I was raised that way. I'm an only child. I've always been raised that way. You know that about me. I mean, because that's the way I was in the military. I'm me, period. That's who I am. That's on you. Have to figure out what you got going on. But I know that it's challenging in certain spaces. I wasn't outside the military. I've been in the private sector. First of all, a lot of times we're not even there. So there's that. And then when you do find us there, those men are typically dating Becky. They're not checking for me. They ain't studying me at all. So
for we know that the studying means paying attention, but keep going.
I ain't studying.
I think everybody on this call knew exactly what that meant.
Ramona,
stop playing because we all got Southern roots. Stop playing. Don't play us like that.
That's true.
Ramona, would you think you've been discriminated against in the dating world?
Not based on my hue, no. I think my fro, which gives me superpowers. Men don't like that much. I think that they prefer a woman with more hair, more like that. But no, I've never. And let me say this one other thing.
I'm sorry, keep going.
Sir, I'm talented. Listen. Now you done made me forget. But I've also here's something interesting. I have dated one white guy, and I think I pursued that. I've never been hit on or by a white guy. So that's another interesting dynamic to this. They are not interested in me.
All right, so Mike, I love the story. Go for it. How was dating as a light-skinned dude? How was dating? You got 5 minutes. Make it good. You got 5
Oh my
minutes.
God. You know, now it's not so bad because I'm older, but when I was younger, it was crazy because I got the looks from the dark skinned brothers and he got all the ladies and all this stuff. And you got the green eyes and all this stuff. So when I was younger, I got all of that. You know, I'd be at the club, you know, and, you know, we be out in the club and a dark skinned brother. I remember this happened one time. He would purposely stepped on my shoes, just, you know, just for the, I was young, didn't do anything. I let it go. But I'm like Sonia. Take me for who I am. I don't really have an issue now with anyone. You know, I'm like this. I'm very old fashioned. So if a woman, whether she's light skinned, dark skinned, female, a white girl, if she approaches me, I do respectfully tell them, hey, I date within my race, and I've told them that. But I just forgot my thought. But anyway, the problem I have now is not with my sisters or anything like that, whether it's a light-skinned sister approaching me or dark-skinned. If they approach me, I'm not drawn to that because, number one, that shows me she's a little bit too thirsty. So I'm going to aggress whether you're light-skinned sister, dark-skinned sister. I want to give me something to chase. Give me something. It doesn't mean now when I say
I got a bad back and ass, man. I ain't chasing your ass. Keep going.
When I say
That's that light skin stuff.
Oh God.
Mike, I think you need to clarify that because sometimes we just letting you know we interested.
Right.
So I was getting ready to do that. I was getting ready to do that. A smile, you know, being in close proximity. I don't mind if a woman approaches me. It's all in the manner that she does it. And there have been times where they've come across, you know, kind of thirsty or aggressive.
Okay.
And so my challenge in dating is, I told you before, Lee, is, and I say this very humbly, God has truly blessed my life. I spent 26 years in the Navy. I just finished 10 years in the federal government. I have 2 sons. I live by myself and I have my own. And so when I've dated and I've had, you know, invited somebody over after a period of time, the thing that I get, oh, you don't need nobody. You got your stuff together. So what does that mean?
Yeah,
you know, I'm not supposed to have my stuff together as a black man that's 57 years old. So I get a lot of that. And it's their insecurities really that makes them run away and things of that nature. So I get a lot of that where you don't need anybody. You know, my mom taught me how to put a house together and stuff like that and keep a clean home and things. But aren't we supposed to do that?
Yes.
That's
well,
my
we
point.
get that too, Michael. The black people, we get that too. Oh, you got
we really do.
You
right. Where are you meeting these women, Michael? You should go to the church or somewhere.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Don't go there. Don't go there because I
Please don't go there.
Please
don't go there.
They can be the worst.
They usually are the worst. Let me go ahead and put that out there. They are the worst.
Sanctified and freakified. I'm sorry.
To your point, Angela, thirsty is probably a strong word, but there are some out there. But I need something to chase. You know, don't, like, for example, I can go to the gym in the morning, right? And I see an attractive woman in there, and I get it. They don't want to be approached, and you're focused. You're hyper focused and stuff like that. But give me something to chase by showing me. If I smile back or something like that. Don't mean mug me. You know, and I'm all for our sisters approaching me, but there's a way you can go about doing it that you still remain like a lady.
Right.
Okay.
But you know the demographic that loves me? Samoans love me. I have no idea why, but Samoans really, really approach me like all the time.
Where are you meeting Samoans? Y'all have the most.
Girl,
I know, right?
I'm in Alabama. I'm in Alabama. I'm telling you, Samoans, for some reason, there's a society of Samoans. They have this whole club. Samoans love me. I don't know why. I
go to the Samoan club.
Where you at, Sonia?
I'm in Alabama. I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville is very diverse, though, for Alabama, because you've got everybody kind of. But Samoans, they love me, and I'm going, why me? I get confused about. I don't even know.
We got 30 seconds left in the show. Thank y'all. I want to really thank you all. It was everything that I hoped it would be and more. We'll definitely do another part to this because we didn't get to everything nor everybody as much as I wanted to. But I want to thank each and every one of you for investing some time today with us to go through this because it's definitely a subject that we do not talk about enough, and it was definitely worth having a conversation about. I hope that you all have wonderful days, whatever you do. Angela, go out there and get some votes because we need you to get in office and kick that boy out the damn seat.
Yes,
You
Lord.
need to connect all of us because all of us probably need to be connected to each other in some kind of strange
Absolutely.
way.
Yeah, connect
Yeah,
us.
that would be
Yeah,
We'll
nice.
work
connect
that
us.
out.
You
Absolutely.
We'll work
ladies
that out.
seem kind
Hey,
of cool. I'll deal with y'all
fam-
ladies.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
seem
yeah.
cool.
family, as we always do about this time, peace. See you next week.
Blessings, y'all. Connect us, Lee. Real talk. Connect us, man.